What's up, everybody? Welcome into A to Z Sports Picks. Brian and I are going to have a great show for you this Friday. Get you ready for the betting weekend. Brian, my man, it's good to see you as always, buddy. How we doing?
I'm elated. The Hawks are up 3-2. This series should actually be over the other way. And like I told you off the air, I've needed a new office chair for probably a year or two, and I just unwrapped it. So I'm happy as can be.
Dude, I was going to say, man, my man Brian, he's got the Hawks going tonight. He's got him a new office chair. Like, my man is living right. Like, that's how you want to do Fridays, dude. I love it.
I like it.
Well, everybody, welcome in A to Z Sports Picks. I'm Alan Bell, CBS Sportsline, alongside Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com. A to Z Sports Picks is brought to you every Tuesday and Friday by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Everyone, make sure to download that BetMGM app. If you do, use promo code A to Z100. And today, if you use that code, put down a $1 money line wager on any NBA team that's playing tonight, both games, any of the four that you like. If either of those teams in that game hit a three-pointer, you get $100 in free bets. Legitimately the easiest bet that you can make. That's BetMGM. Download that app, the king of sportsbooks. Visit BetMGM for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older. Must be present in the state of Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. So, Brian, like I said, it's good to see you. We've got a phenomenal sports weekend, honestly. NBA playoffs are right in just on fire gear. We're going to decide at some point, either tonight or by Sunday night, which teams are getting through, going on to conference finals games. We've got the U.S. Open. We've got all kinds of stuff. So let's just start here. Let's break down what we have for the weekend. So starting tonight, like we said, man, we've got two massive game sixes in the NBA playoffs. First up, we've got the 76ers at the Hawks. Hawks lead that series 3-2. 76ers, last I saw, were a 3-point favorite. Total sitting around 221.5, 222, depending on what book that you're looking at. Brian, I know that your boys are one game away from getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. How are we feeling on the game tonight, man? What do you think?
Well, it looks like Philly is still the better team, and it looks like they have been the better team other than these epic fourth quarter collapses. But, by the same token, you look at the box scores, and Atlanta has not really shot the three very well in these last couple of games. And, I've been spitting this stat for, ever since we started the show. So since February 21st, Atlanta is 22-3 straight up and 20-5 against the spread in their last 25 home games. And, oh, man, I just wonder where Philly's psyche is tonight. I've got enough in my just fandom, if you will, rooting interest. So I'm not going to play the game. And I don't know which way I'd play it, even if I wanted to, because, again, Philly looks the better team, but Ben Simmons is all up in his mental feelings with the free throws. And, Tobias Harris was the surprising lack of performance the other night. Only 4 points out of him, 2 of 11 from the field. He's got that massive contract now. He's played pretty good in the rest of the series, but he was a complete no-show the other night. I like the Hawks' chances, but again, I'm on the sidelines. I don't really have a strong feel for it, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got a play on this one for tonight in our Friday parlay. But I'll say this, man. Like I thought last night was a really good spot betting opportunity to have the Bucks. I rode them money line. I didn't really like the spread at 6. Obviously, Milwaukee ended up covering it, but man, I just don't know about this one. Like, I don't feel like the 76ers have the same kind of fight, that Milwaukee had. Plus, they're on the road. It's a weird spot. Let me say, I'm playing the total on this one, and we'll break it down further here. But yeah, it's odd, and I don't think Atlanta wants to go back to Philly for a game 7. But yeah, we'll break this one down more here in just a bit. Now, our second NBA game tonight, we have the Jazz and the Clippers. Now, the Clippers lead the series 3-2, but the Jazz on the road are a 1.5 point favorite. Total sitting, 220, 219.5, somewhere around that area. Brian, what are you seeing out of this one? Do we see the Clippers taking this one at home, ending the series? They're not the betting favorite, but we're only talking about 1.5 points. Odds makers obviously feel this one's going to be pretty tight. What do you think?
Well, the reports this morning are that Mike Conley is on track to play. Now, Harden in his first game after missing, a week or so, or maybe more like, I don't know, 8 or 9 days, maybe even 10. But, he didn't play very good in the first game. I think he was 1 of 10 from the field. Now, he did have 8 assists. I thought he did, have a little bit of a positive impact on the game, especially in the latter part of it, distributing and whatnot. But, just having Conley in there and really he didn't have to make a lot of plays off the dribble, which Brooklyn needs Harden to do without Kyrie. They've got Donovan Mitchell. If he can just knock in some threes, that would be a big lift for them. Is he going to play? Where's his cardio? Where's his rust level, if you will? And they're also saying that Donovan Mitchell is going to be a game time decision. That is flipping nonsense. He's playing now. If he's how bad the ankle's bothering him, I don't know. I can't speak to that. If I was confident in Conley and Mitchell, being close to 100%, and I'm pretty confident with Donovan, then I would love Utah. But instead, I'm going to have a little opinion on Utah in my parlay later on in the show, and I'll save my pick and tell why on the total here for. Segment 2 is the playoff parlay. So go ahead and get it out of the way.
Yeah, right. There you go. I'm with you. I've got to play on this one as well. Mine's with the total, and I'm going to play the over. We'll break down why, but I'm with you. I think the total here is a good look. Now, to finish out tonight, we've got in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, we've got Vegas Golden Knights at the Montreal Canadiens. That series is tied 1-1. Vegas is the moneyline betting favorite at -160. I also have a play on this one, but I'll go ahead and break it down pretty quickly for anybody. Look, we've had 2 games. Both games ended at 5. All right. I'm playing the total on this one. I'm playing the over 5. I hit under 5.5, but that's kind of how this series has been. It opens at 5.5. It immediately drops down to 5 because people play the under. But look, I think this is going to be a fantastic play to hit the over on it because essentially you're playing for the push. And then you've got an opportunity to hit the over. I think that's where it's going to be, and we'll break it down even more. Also tonight, we've got the Cardinals at the Braves for their weekend series. Braves are the moneyline favorite tonight, -180. Now, going into Saturday, so we've got the Bucks at the Nets. All right, Game 7, series tied 3-3, obviously. Bucks are on the road in Brooklyn. Bucks are 1-point favorite, a total 215.5. This is a massive, massive game, obviously, because Brooklyn, we've seen, has been the favorite in the futures market to win the NBA title. Milwaukee, obviously, fought to get back in this spot last night. And, Brian, quickly, what do you think about this one, Game 7 on the line? Where are you thinking on it?
I'm still thinking on it. I want to go back and review the box score from last night, which I should have done already, but I haven't. I almost want to play the under. So the under's 5-1 in the series. The only time it hit over, you recommended it the Game 5 night when it went over, and I think it got to 222. But the rest of them have been Thunder unders. But it's wild. Like the first Game 1 was 239.5. Now then, we lost Harden, so that obviously affects it. And then by the time he came back, Kyrie was gone. But Game 2's total was like I want to say 236, 237. And now we're more than 20 points below that. Well, understandably so, because they've been going so low at under 215. I don't know if it's time to fire on the over with it going so low again, like you wisely did for that Game 5. I'm kind of thinking not that. I'm kind of thinking it's another under. I'm kind of sitting on the fence here. I just haven't had a whole lot of time to think about it, and I apologize for that. But right now, I haven't made a decision on it. No, I get it. It's a tough game. It's a Game 7, and I think that you're hitting on something that's pretty accurate.
The story of the NBA playoffs really is attrition. We've seen injuries like crazy across, pretty much, every team. I think going into this Game 7, you're going to have 2 really tired teams. I think that the fourth quarter is going to dictate where this game is. I think that there's an opportunity for overtime just because they have been tight. but that overtime could come with 180 points. You know what I mean? So I think that you're going to have two pretty tired teams. I'm interested to see where this total goes, the rest of today and in the morning. But yeah, I'm with you. And essentially, you're picking a money line favorite, honestly, with a 1 point spread. I mean, you're picking who's going to win the game. I have a hard time thinking that Brooklyn loses at home. It's just going to be really, really difficult for me to bet against that. So I think that you've got, a money line opportunity for a pretty good price on Brooklyn. Obviously, you could grab the +1, give yourself a little bit of insurance. But again, I also think that, you've got some parlay opportunities with this one. But yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a massive one. Now, to round out Saturday, we've got another NHL Stanley Cup playoff game. We've got the Tampa Bay Lightning at the New York Islanders. The Lightning lead that series 2-1. The Lightning are going to be a money line favorite, -130, total of 5. Here's the deal. I played this one last night, and again, it's just a good spot bet because, look, here's the deal. When you have the Islanders going, like Tampa's a better team, but the Islanders keep games tight. They keep it close. They kind of remind me of Vanderbilt baseball. Like they just do not allow you, even if you win, they just don't allow you to score that much, that often. And think about this. I think that you got a nice +1.5 opportunity for the Islanders. I played it last night. It hit. The Lightning won 2-1. And here's the reason why. The Lightning, they've played 8 total road games now. This playoffs, this entire Stanley Cup playoffs, they've only won 2 by 2 or more goals. And, that's the entire run that they've had. On top of that, going against an Islanders team that kind of has to win. And even when they don't, they choke you out. So I think you've got a nice opportunity here at the +1.5. I'm going to play it. It's been paying nicely for me pretty much all playoffs long. You got the Cardinals at the Braves on Saturday, continuing their weekend series. College World Series, you've got Arizona at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is now the betting favorite, money line -120. They opened as an underdog to Arizona. And, depending on where you're at, you might be able to still find Vanderbilt +1.5 on a run line. Total of 11. We're going to break these games down here in a couple segments. But I'll say this. Again, you looking at these kind of numbers. First off, Vanderbilt has played in 4 College World Series before this. They've never lost an opening game. They've got the best pitcher in the country who's already been a #1 pick beforehand. He's going to do it again. He's already been a College World Series champion while being the College World Series champion MVP, right? Like Kumar Rocker's on the mound. Like, again, I just don't understand how Vanderbilt could be favored in the futures market and then an underdog to lose their first game. That doesn't add up to me, but we'll make some picks on that one. I like Vanderbilt. Now, time
out. When's that first game? I think I want to bet on this guy. He's an underdog?
Yeah, well, they opened. Now they've moved the money line. They're 120, but you can find Vanderbilt +1.5 still on the run line. So they're going to be a money line favorite at -120, but you still have opportunities to grab +1.5.
When's that game?
Yeah, it's Saturday at 7, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, 7. I think 7 Central, somewhere around there. Yeah. And then, I'm telling you, take a look at that one, man. And we'll break that down more. But now, Saturday, rounding that out, we've got UFC Fight Night 25 on ESPN. The main event, we got the Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Jung, against our boy, Dan 50K Ige. Brian, break this card down for us, man. What do we got in the main event? What do we got in some fights? Anything that you like?
Yeah, so the Korean Zombie, he's one of my favorites, man. He is terrific. Now, he's coming off a loss to Brian T-City Ortega by decision. But, before that, he had won 3 of his 4 fights since he came back from in South Korea, they make you go to a mandatory 3-year military service. So, he had a lot of fights in the UFC into his, I want to say 27, 28 years old. And then he left to go do that. And he came back. He got a first-round KO against Dennis Bermudez. Then he was winning the fight with Yair Rodriguez. And if you've never seen it, it's the craziest finish in UFC history. It was 3 rounds to 1 for the Korean Zombie. And then with 1 second left, Yair Rodriguez did this just crazy jumping, spinning elbow. And he just landed the back elbow right on Korean Zombie's nose, and he was just out. So it was at the buzzer. Crazy.
I'm going to practice that on my buddies at the bar this weekend.
Right? Yeah. And then he had a 58-second knockout of Renato Moicano, who was in the top 5 at the time. Then he beat the legend Frankie Edgar by first-round KO. and then he lost to Ortega. But, he's got 3 first-round finishes in his last 5 fights. And Ige is on a hot streak, but not against the toughest of competition like the Zombie's been going up against really for a decade. Ige is good. I believe he's on a 7-1 run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7-1 in his last 8 fights. But I thought he lost to Edson Barbosa in Jacksonville at the first set of fights, coming back from the pandemic, last May. And so 13 months ago. And it was a split decision win his way. I was so pissed. I had Barbosa in that fight. It was a robbery. And then he lost to Cater. And then he beat Gavin Tucker, who's an unranked guy. So I like the Zombie here. He's a short underdog. He might only be even money or plus 105. But I'm going to go with the Zombie. And I'm not against a little baby taste of him to win by KO, which is should be around plus 300. And then in the co-main event, a couple of heavyweights, Sergey Spivak and the boa constrictor Alexei Olenek, who is a big-time submission artist. Okay, in Spivak's 14 career fights, 9 have ended in the first round. And the under for my guy, Alexei Olenek, is on a nice run, which I thought I had written down here. I think it is 6-2 in his last 8. But I want to go under 2.5 rounds, or I'm sorry, under 1.5 rounds at a minus 150 price in that one. So the Korean Zombie as a short underdog, or maybe even money in the main event. And it's UFC on ESPN 25 on ESPN proper tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure it's on ESPN proper. If not, it's on ESPN 2. And then in the co-main, under 1.5 minus 150 for Olenek and Spivak.
Dude, let me say this. In terms of this, the entire card, these might be the best nicknames that I've ever seen collected, right? You got the Korean Zombie, you've got 50K Ige, the boa constrictor. Like, this is solid, dude. Like, this is a great nickname fight. Now, on Sunday, rounding this the weekend out, Clippers at Jazz, Game 7, if necessary. Hawks at 76ers, Game 7, if necessary. We've got the Golden Knights and the Canadians. Cardinals at Braves. They're on Sunday Night Baseball. We got Virginia at Tennessee in the College World Series. We'll break that one down here in just a bit. Tennessee's a moneyline favorite of minus 150 with a total of 8.5. And we've got in Nashville, NASCAR, the Ally 400. We've got a really nice weekend here at the Nashville Super Speedway, really getting it going. We've got a truck race tonight, Xfinity Series Saturday, and then the main NASCAR on Sunday. So, saying all that to say,
is the weather bad up there like it is down here?
It's beautiful. No, it's hot. It's nice. It's summer in Tennessee. We might have a little bit of rain on Sunday, but that's really going to be south of the city. It's a really nice June weekend here. Now, getting into what we call our Friday parlay, our playoff parlay, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the games, options that we have, create the best parlay for you. I'll go ahead and go first, Brian, throw you out what I've got. I've got a 3-legger here. I'm going to go all 3 games that are on tonight. First, it's a 3-leg parlay, pays out plus 548. So I'm going to go with the 76ers at the Hawks. I'm playing the under 225.5. All right, and here's the reason why. The Hawks are 75% to the under when leading a playoff series, and the 76ers and the Hawks all season long, 5 of the 8 games between these two have hit the under. I'm just going to ride the historicals on this one. I like that, and especially if that number continues to climb, we've seen it go up all the way to 225 or 222.5, might even get to 223. I'm going to ride the under on that. Second leg, I'm going with the Jazz Clippers over 219. Again, I think this is a really nice spot play. You look at Utah, they're 80% to the over in all playoff games this postseason. And you look at in this series between the Jazz and the Clippers, 3 of the 5 have already hit the over. Again, I'm just going to ride the historicals on this one. 219, I like that number. I think that they eclipse it. And then the third one, I mentioned it earlier. It's a really nice spot play. Again, you look at Vegas, the Golden Knights at Montreal, the Canadians. I'm going to play the over of 5. And again, we've already had 2 games in the series. Both of them hit 5. You look at Vegas, they're 53% to the over this season after a day off. And the Canadians are 100% to the over when the line is 5 or below. So I really like this play because honestly, again, you're going to be looking for the push. And if you get above it, which I think that we will tonight, Yeah, it's a really nice play. Good spot play. So that's what I've got. 3-legger plus 548. Brian, what you got, buddy?
All right. So I'm going to just trust and hope that Donovan Mitchell is going to be good to go. And I think he will be. And hopefully Conley plays as well. But I mean, I like the Jazz. I mean, I don't love it, but I think I like the Jazz anyway. I just don't think Paul George is going to go off quite as, I mean, that was just a terrific performance the other night. And the Jazz have, this is crazy. We've got 2 number 1 seeds staring at elimination tonight in game 6 of the semifinals. But I can't see the Jazz going out like this. I can't see that happening. And look, the Clippers were great in games 3 and 4, but they had their struggles at home, losing outright, 3 times to the Mavs in round 1. And now they're without Kawhi. So props to the Clippers for that performance the other night. I don't think they can repeat it. So my parlay is going to be 2 teams. I'm going to go Jazz, but I'm going to do the money line instead of laying 1.5 or 2. And the money line, you should be able to get a -130. And then I'm going to go over, which I got at 219 yesterday. It's up to 220 at most spots now. But the over, so it's at 220 right now. The combined scores in this series have been 221, 222, 228, 230, and 238. Okay, so there you go. All of them have gone over 220. And the Jazz, the over is on an 8-2 run in their last 10 games. So that's just a 2-legger Jazz outright money line and the over tonight, and that should get plus 237.76. Now, I'm not against throwing in the Korean Zombie in there, but I don't know if our listeners have the option of cross-sport parlays. I don't even know that I have that option, but if you did throw in the Zombie in that at plus 105, that parlay would balloon to plus 592. But for record-keeping purposes, we're just going to do Jazz in the over for a plus 237 return.
I like it. Now, our boy, Big Rick Merritt, he agrees. He likes the overs tonight. I'm with you. I'm with Rick. I like this play, especially, with what we just talked about in the Jazz and the Clippers. It makes sense, especially if you got it last night, like you said, 219. I think that's a really good number. Now, let's jump to the most electrifying game in sports betting. I love this. I love doing it. What we call prop or parlay. So everyone, we need your picks. You are playing in this as much as we are. Put them in the chat, whether you're watching, on Twitter, whether you're watching on Facebook, wherever. Let us know who you're playing. The rules are simple. I'm going to list and read you a list of 8 either props or parlays. You have to pick at least one. You can pick as many as you want, but you have to pick at least one. And let me read these out. Let us know who you have. And Brian, after I get done reading it, you're up first. Let us know what you have. I'll list them out right now. Okay. First up, Trae Young to make 1 or more 3-pointers in the first quarter tonight, plus 145. 76ers and the Clippers both to win, plus 230. Jazz and the Hawks both to win, plus 320. Trae Young to make 5+ 3-pointers, plus 425. Joel Embiid to score 40+ points, plus 210. 76ers, the first to score 20 points, a race bet, minus 160. Ben Simmons to record 10+ rebounds, plus 190. And the Hawks to win by 6 to 10 points, a margin bet, plus 475. So, Brian, I'm going to kick it to you. Again, everybody in the chat, everybody watching, let us know who you're playing as well. You got to make your picks too. Brian, I'll kick it to you. Who you got?
Kiss, man. Keep it simple, stupid. Trae, 1-3 plus 145. That's it. That's a winner, and that's it. I'll just stick with that. Keep it simple, stupid.
I like it. You know what? You know what's funny? I'm playing the exact one. Trae Young to make 1+ 3-pointer in the first quarter, plus 145. I did not really like any of these other ones. Now, here's the deal. You take a look. I'll say this. Our boy, Brett 615, he feels the exact same, not the exact same way, but he likes the 76ers first to 20. I don't mind that one. Now, you're going to pay a little bit to get it. But, yeah, I mean, it's – go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Brian. It's not a bad play.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm almost certain on this. I haven't looked it up, but I'm just going off my memory. Atlanta was the first to score 20 in game 1, but I'm almost positive Philadelphia scored the first 25 games in a row, or how many games in a row? 4, the last 4 in a row. because it's game 6 tonight. So I'm almost positive Sixers have scored the first 24 in a row. I mean, you got to lay a minus 160 price, but Brett, I get your thought process.
Yep, I'm with it. Dom, he likes it. Same thing. Trey, he's got Trey the 5+ 3-pointers. So the odds on that one, Trey Young, to make 5+ 3-pointers plus 425. Now that one pays out nicely. All right, so I'm not against that one at all. Now I think I probably see Trey Young around 3. But again, I mean, when Trey Young gets hot, dude, he can go. So, Brian, what are your thoughts? You watch the Hawks more than anybody on the planet. What do you think on this one?
I mean, I don't blame Dom's thought process with that monster payout because, I mean, it's nothing for him to, get hot and throw in that many. However, I just think in this matchup with Ben Simmons guarding him a lot, he's not getting as many clean looks because of Simmons' length and also when Thibault guards him as well. He's like a 6'5"-ish type guy, and he's got his floater. Trey's got his floater game going so well, penetrating. So I'm not sure if Dom will get it, but I don't blame him for trying that. It's a monster payout, and I mean he's going to take at least 7 or 8 threes. We'll just see if he makes them tonight. I don't, a lot of games he will try 10 or more threes, but that hadn't really been happening in the series. I think because of Simmons' length and Trey's floater game has just been terrific.
Yeah, and this brings up a question, and we had kind of discussed this about the game last night, and it kind of played out a little bit. So what happens if the 76ers, let's just play a scenario here, and we're looking at all prop bets, irregardless of these, just any prop bet on this game tonight. What happens if the 76ers are up somewhat big, kind of towards the mid fourth quarter range? Do you see any chance that Atlanta sits guys? Does Trey sit? If they kind of think, hey, this game might be a wrap, we need to get ready for game 7. Is that something that we should think about when playing these props tonight?
I don't think so, but I think something you should think about is if they're down big, they're going to start fouling Ben Simmons. And if they are doing that 2 or 3 seconds in the shot clock of each Philly possession, that's going to create more possessions. And so, I don't really have an opinion on the over or under tonight, but I would say this: if you are on the under and they start hack-a-bin or whatever, certainly if it's done like early fourth or late third, you might, if you have a hedge situation where you can hedge and maybe come back with some over at a lower number, you might want to lay a little bit off and hedge with the over, because if they start fouling Simmons time after time, you're going to get a lot more possessions and potentially a lot more points.
Yeah, that's a great thought. Now, I was going to say that would require Ben Simmons to actually hit a free throw, but no, I mean you're exactly right on the possessions. Like that's a good call. There's definitely going to be some opportunities for live playing tonight, and like you said, if you're on the under, it's an opportunity to hedge yourself. I'm with you. Now, Josh Brown says he likes Young to get 1 3 in the first quarter, 30 for the game. Also taking Morris to get 20. What do you think about that?
Well, I think Marcus Morris is now the number 2 scoring option, or I guess that's debatable with Reggie Jackson, but I like his, Josh, I like your thought process. Marcus Morris is going to get more field goal attempts, and I think he had 25 points the other night. So I like your thought process with Marcus Morris. As for Young to get 1 3 in the first, I agree with that. Richter scale says, has Trey hit more than 4 this whole series? And I don't think so either. But again, Dom is just going for the big payout at plus 425. And if Trey's hot, he can certainly hit 5 or more. So good point, Richter scale. But I don't think that really diminishes Dom's thought process. He just knows that Trey can get hot, and it's a plus 425 payout.
I like it. Now, we'll move on, and everybody, keep putting in, your picks. We want to see what you got. We're going to move into our final segment of the show, wagering on the College World Series. Like we said, we've got 2 teams from Tennessee that are in this. Saturday, we've got Arizona at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is the money line favorite, now minus 120 with a total of 11. Again, look, Arizona opened up the betting favorite. I get it. You look at their lineup, 1 through 6. They got a lot of dudes who hit 300 or over. They're a good baseball team. But what I'm going off of, again, is what I've seen from Vanderbilt and what I see on the mound from Vanderbilt. Kumar Rocker is fantastic. He's the best pitcher in the country. They've got the number 2 pitcher in the country in Jack Leiter, and they've got good middle relief and close as well. I mean, this is a solid Vanderbilt baseball team. I'm going to roll with Vanderbilt on the money line here. I'm going to roll with Vanderbilt plus 1.5, and I'm also going to play the under of 11. And here's why. Let me kind of break this down. Like, if you take a look, Brett is saying it right here, 615, elite pitching. Seriously, it's the 2 pitchers in the country. Like, it's not even close. If you take a look, I went through the stats of the last 4 College World Series that we had, and I went through the opening games. So that would be the last 4 years. That's 16 games total. And we talked about this on Tuesday, but I'll just kind of break it down again. You take the average run score total between 2 teams in those 16, opening round games, total 7.1. All right. Now, in those 4 years, 3 years featured a game that was 1-0. All 4 years featured a game that had a shutout. Okay. 12 of those 16 games were 9 runs or fewer. 7 of those 16 games were 6 runs or fewer. So again, I'm not saying that automatically correlates. We could have some teams that get out there and mash. But again, if you're giving me Kumar Rocker, it's hard for me to go against Vanderbilt. And it's really hard for me to see the total of 11. Like, I was very, very surprised at that. Again, I know that Arizona can hit. I know Vanderbilt can hit. But 11. I mean, that's just a big number. You look at what Vanderbilt did in the Super Regionals. Kumar Rocker on Friday, against ECU, won 2-0. Jack Leiter the next day on Saturday against ECU, won 4-1. Like, 11 is a big, big number. Any thoughts that you have, Brian? Anything that you see? Any kind of anomalies that you see from this game?
Man, I just don't know enough about college baseball, but all the stats that you've given out and talking about that stud pitcher makes me want to take Vandy in both games, or certainly at the minus 120 price in the first game with the stud pitcher. And then if the Leiter in the second game, if he's, less than minus 140 or some, if it's a good price, I think I'll be looking to Vanderbilt there. And I haven't bet a college baseball game all year, but just this conversation's making me want to take Vandy tomorrow night and potentially with Leiter in the next game.
Yeah, it's just so fascinating because Vanderbilt really is that good of a team. And again, don't be wrong, Arizona could win this entire thing. They're good enough to do it. But, just kind of going off of who Vanderbilt is, who that team is this year. Look, they've got elite pitching. They hit well. They've got good relief. They don't kill themselves at all. Like, this team doesn't make errors. They don't make, it's kind of dumb, silly. Like, they just don't do any of that. Like, it's very much kind of a major league managed type team with Tim Corbin. It's just surprising to me. And especially with a total of 11, it's big, especially in a park that's large like TD Ameritrade, that you're not going to have a ton of home runs. It's just really, really surprising to me. Now, and look, I'll say this, whatever Vanderbilt's second game is, Brian, watch Jack Leiter. Like you said, like you're asking Tuesday, if that's Al Leiter's kid, it is. Dude, he might be better than Kumar. I'm not saying that he is, but this kid throws 99 gas.
Is he lefty like his dad?
No, righty. Yeah. This kid throws just pure gasoline. He can hit wherever he wants on the plate. I mean, this kid is just absolutely phenomenal. You'll love watching him. Kumar is like a robot. If you watch Saturday, legitimately, he makes a pitch, throws a strike, gets the ball. He's ready to go immediately. Like, it's crazy just how robotic and good that this guy is. But
did I hear you right? Did you say he was the number 1 pick and decided to come back to school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's already won a national championship with Vanderbilt 2 years ago in 2019 and was the MVP. Like, this dude is unbelievable. Like, that's what was so surprising to me. Like, the guy is just phenomenal, man. You look on Sunday, we got Virginia at Tennessee. Tennessee is a moneyline favorite, minus 150. You've got a total of 8.5. Honestly, I thought Virginia and Tennessee would have the total of 11 and Vanderbilt would have the total of 8.5. You look at what Tennessee has done. They're a mashing team. They like to hit a lot of home runs. I don't know if they're going to have quite as many just because the park is so big. But when Tennessee hits a home run, it's a bomb, dude. Like, they're rarely ones that barely eclipse the fence. Like they usually hit moonshots. This team is really good. They've got good pitching. They've got good fielding. They really kind of do everything exciting. Today, their head coach, their manager, Tony Vitello, was named the National Coach of the Year. And quite frankly, this Tennessee team is about excitement. They play off of energy. You're going to have to get, all 27 outs as we've seen. And when they pick up steam, like that's what they're built upon. They generally either beat you 17-6, or lose 2-1. Like that's how their games go. So if their bats are going, which again, let me say this, Virginia can hit too. I think Virginia is one of the top 3 teams in the country in terms of hitting doubles this year. They're going to get their opportunities. They're going to get hits. But it's going to be a phenomenal game. I'm going to ride with Tennessee on this one. I like the over of 8.5. Josh Brown in the chat says the same thing. I'm with you. I kind of thought that Tennessee's over-under would be 11. But yeah, 8.5, that kind of surprised me. If we get a Tennessee Vanderbilt national championship, it'll literally be a nuclear war. I'm kind of pulling for that one. But yeah, I mean, again, Brian, I'll throw it to you. I know, like you said, you don't take in a ton of college baseball, but just any thoughts, on anything that you see, anything.
I'm not against a future bet to win the World Series from Vandy with those 2 stud pitchers. I'm going to play Vandy tomorrow night and go from there. If I watch it, maybe it gets me interested in the rest of the series. From what you are saying, it sounds like the over might be worth a shot with Virginia, Tennessee. I have to check with my guy Tennessee Lee on that. But just in general, I'm rooting for Austin Stanley and this poor old itching Tennessee fan base. I know they're starving for a ring. And so I'm rooting for them.
I love it. Yeah, they got an opportunity to do it. And look, let me kind of break down, let me use a Major League Baseball comparison of who these teams are, and it'll kind of make sense a little bit. Vanderbilt is probably the Dodgers. All right. They can roll Kershaw out there. They can roll, pitchers on pitcher on pitcher. They can hit home runs. They just don't kill themselves, right? Like they have no problem beating you 2-0. They have no problem beating you 20-18, but you're going to have to fight to get every single one of those runs, and they can put them up. That's kind of who they are. If you look at Tennessee kind of reminds me of the Astros a little bit, right? Like they've got some of that, some of the White Sox that you see when they just start mashing and it doesn't stop, for the love of God, right? Like, if they get 1-2 home runs going, like you're going to get 18 runs. Like it's just absolutely going to happen. It's a good live bet play. Like if you see one just monster moonshot, just play the live over because it's going to hit, because you're going to have 4 more guys do the exact same thing. So that's kind of they are. They certainly like to play that off that excitement. But yeah, Vanderbilt, man, they're just kind of a professional team. They go out there. You don't hear much from them. They just operate. And you're going to have to earn everyone, because they're going to throw you strikes. They're not afraid to pitch at anybody. They ain't walking anybody. And generally, Kumar, Leiter, they end up, 10-plus strikeouts. They're a lot of fun. So, Brian, before we end, let's go back over our parlays real quick. Kick yours out there. You got a 2-legger. What do you got?
I'm going to go Jazz money line minus 130 and over 220 tonight. That pays plus 237 and change. And let me be clear, I'm also going to bet the over tonight in a straight bet, and then just parlay it with the Jazz in my parlay. And then tomorrow night in the UFC, I'm going to go with the Korean Zombie as a short underdog. You might be able to get a plus 105 or even money plus 100. I'm not against for less playing Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, the prop bet for him to win by KO, which should be around plus 300, or as long as it's like plus 250 or more, I think it's worth a shot. And then the co-main event, Sergey Spivak and Alexei Olenek, the boa constrictor, under 1.5 rounds for it cost minus 150 for that, so don't risk too much with a minus 150 price. And I think that'll do it for me. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I've got a 3-legger. Pays plus 548, 76ers Hawks under 222.5, Jazz at Clippers over 219, and Vegas Montreal over 5. So that's all the time that we have for today. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Let us know who you're picking, who you're playing, who you like, especially throughout the entire weekend. And the most important part, Let's all cash some tickets. Have a good weekend, guys. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Good luck, everybody. Have a great week.